misinformation, pseudoscience, misleading claims. Instructors continually ask students to sift through these. Macmillan Learning's immersive critical thinking activities help them to do just that. For each introductory psychology title, the authors provide immersive critical thinking activities that ask students to sharpen their critical thinking skills by interpreting data, reviewing case studies, or playing the role of researcher or subject, all in the context of basic psychology principles. Clinical choice immersive critical thinking activities allow students to take on the role of clinical psychologists. They engage with online clients to identify psychological disorders based on DSM-5 criteria and think critically about diagnosis and treatment options. Each clinical choice activity goes through the same general steps, albeit sometimes in a different order, tailored to the particular case and disorder. Disclaimer, intake paperwork, instructions for the interview questions and client responses, questions about the case, symptoms, from the file, diagnosis, treatment, epilogue, and real-world application. Each activity starts with a disclaimer noting that the activity is for educational purposes only, to ensure that students realize the activity is only a simulation. Following the disclaimer, students are able to view the intake paperwork to garner some background information on the case before they begin the activity. In this phase of the activity, students read basic demographic information and presenting complaint about the client. This section replicates the paperwork a clinical psychologist would receive before their intake interview with a client. In the interview instructions phase of the activity, students receive logistical instructions on how to complete the activities. The interview questions and client responses put students in the role of the clinical psychologist performing an intake interview with a client during their initial meeting. Client responses, which are played using the media buttons at the bottom of the illustration, are recorded by voice actors and accompanied by illustrations depicting what the client's and the clinical psychologist's office might look like. Questions about the case are incorporated throughout the activity. Sometimes they are displayed on the same page as an interview question and response, and sometimes they have their own page. After receiving information about the case, students are asked to select which symptoms of the disorder the client endorses. In the From the File section, students watch a video about a client with symptoms similar to the current client they are interviewing. Students are told they are reviewing a case from their previous files. Students are always asked what symptoms the client in the video and the current client share in a short answer question. After receiving information about the case, students are asked to answer a question about the client's diagnosis. Sometimes there is more than one diagnosis, or a past diagnosis and a present diagnosis. Students have the ability to click on the definition button to see the DSM-5 criteria for each disorder listed as an option. Usually a short answer question related to the diagnosis is included on this page as well. After diagnosing the client, students are asked to pick the best treatment for the client. The hint can be helpful here, guiding the students to the treatment with the most empirical support. Students have the ability to click on the definition button to see a description of what that type of treatment would entail for this particular client with this particular disorder. Each activity includes an illustration and brief paragraph depicting what happened to the client after they started treatment. Finally, to conclude, students watch a video related to the particular case. This video may illustrate treatment or research for this particular disorder, or it may discuss ethical issues, such as involuntary hospitalization. This real-world application section includes a short answer question that students can only answer if they have watched the video. These questions typically ask students to give their own opinion or reflect on how they would feel in a given situation. Achieve for Psychology, engaging every student, supporting every instructor, setting the new standard for teaching and learning.